Doctor Who and Christmas go together like River Song, the best character, and spoilers. See, look, I got my River mention out of the way early this time, but there could be more. You'll have to wait and see. Despite skipping the 2025 festive season in favour of The War Between the Land and the Sea, the main show-ho-ho will be back at Christmas in 2026 with an episode that has a lot to resolve and address and a lot to set up for the future. So what do we want this episode to be? What storylines should feature and which characters should be involved? Well, I'm glad you asked, my friend, because I'm Ellie for WhoCulture and these are 10 things we need from Doctor Who's next episode. Number 10. What's the deal with the gold tooth? Due to Ncuti Gatwa's early departure, there are still a handful of RTD2 plot threads that remain unresolved. If Russell T Davies sticks around, these could be saved for future seasons, but if the 2026 special is his last episode, those answers might have to be brought forward. A big one is the Master, who made an appearance of sorts in The Giggle, imprisoned inside the Toymaker's gold tooth. When the Toymaker was defeated, a mysterious manicured hand picked up his tooth from the unit helipad, echoing the hand that picked up the Master's ring in Last of the Time Lords, suggesting that he might be resurrected again sometime soon. But since then we've had nothing, and two of the prevailing fan theories that the hand belonged to Maestro or Mrs. Flood have been debunked, which probably means that yet again Russell T Davies is going to just pull a solution out of the ether without any forward planning. Of all the mysteries in RTD2, it's not one that necessarily demands an answer. It could easily be left for the next showrunner to deal with. But it would certainly be nice to see the Master again in the special, given that they'll have been away for 4 years. And it wouldn't be the first time Russell T Davies has done a Christmassy Master finale. Number 9. Go all out with Christmas. Something that shouldn't be overlooked about the 2026 special is the fact that it's going to be a Christmas special. The Christmas specials we've had so far have broadly fallen into 2 categories. Stories that put Christmas front and centre, like A Christmas Carol, and stories that barely use it at all, like that one where Peter Capaldi met Superman. The 15th Doctor's Christmas specials did a decent job of incorporating Christmas and delivering that festive feeling. But wouldn't it be nice if this upcoming special really went all out? Drench every set in snow, make Christmas part of the plot, and pepper Christmas carols and songs throughout. The most fondly remembered Christmas specials are the ones that embrace the theme, and after a year away, it would be lovely for the show to come back with a ho-ho huge Christmas bang. 15's Christmas specials also lacked the big seasonal set pieces of old, stuff like the giant tree collapsing in the Christmas Invasion, and the cash machine frenzy in The Runaway Bride. The closest we got was the snowman scene in the church on Ruby Road, but that felt fairly low-key considering it was a tacked-on note from Disney. And you know what? Let's have a new musical number 2. 2026 could easily be Murray Gold's Last Doctor Who Hurrah. Again. So why not throw in one last song for old time's sake? Just maybe make it more Song for 10 than the Goblin song. Number 8. Who is the boss? The oldest unanswered plot thread from RTD2 is the identity of the boss, a mysterious figure first mentioned by the Meep in The Star Beast. Feels like forever ago now, doesn't it? Following this, Rogue referred to a new boss who had given him lots of paperwork, although it is unclear whether this is the same character, before a more definite reference came in The Reality War when Anita passed on greetings from the boss to the Doctor, implying that as well as overseeing the Meep and Rogue, they're now in charge of the Time Hotel. Presumably this arc was due to reach its climax in Season 3, with the boss maybe even being the big bad of RTD2, pulling the strings right from the start. So it makes sense for it to be paid off in a big, exciting, festive special. Who could it be then? Well, surely a returning character. Perhaps another slightly obscure classic series villain, since we know how much RTD loves bringing those back. And hey, the Third Doctor did fight a supercomputer called Boss, or more specifically, Biomorphic Organizational Systems Supervisor, so you never know. The boss could even be the Master, or the person that picked up the tooth that he's trapped inside. It would make sense to start connecting some of these random dots a little, wouldn't it? Whatever the case, let's hope the reveal's a satisfying one and not just the boss was important because you thought they were important. Number 7. The Return of the Daleks. In a way, the BBC would be mad not to include Doctor Who's most iconic monsters in this episode. Barring the Children in Need Special Destination Skaro and a flash of reused, reworked footage in the reality war, the Daleks have been absent from the show since 2022, and for the entirety of the RTD2 era. At the time, this was part of a conscious move away from iconic enemies, in favour of fantastical new baddies and obscure old favourites. There was also a feeling that the Bronze Time War Daleks had been done to death, and that a rest or redesign probably wasn't a bad idea. But by the time next year's special airs, the Daleks will have been away from our screens for 4 years. It's honestly baffling that they never appeared in the Disney era, given how iconic they are. You'd have expected Disney to be all over them, and honestly, we're ready for them to come back now. Plus, there's no other monster that could generate as much interest in the show among casuals as the Daleks can. While a redesign would be cool, it would arguably make even more sense to have the Bronze Boys back alongside Billie Piper, assuming that she's actually in this thing. Honestly, at this point, we'll take anything that we can get. Number 6. RTD's final bow. Russell T Davies's return to Doctor Who was hailed as the return of the king, but 4 years later, things feel different. There's a sense that his second era hasn't quite lived up to its potential, with the much-hyped Whoniverse resulting in a spin-off nobody really wanted, and the breakdown of the Disney deal throwing the show's release pattern into doubt. Again. Russell T Davies has also come under fire for overhyping storylines and an over-reliance on nostalgia. Even among his biggest fans, there's a feeling that it's probably time to let someone else have a go. The wording of the statement that announced the show's future, Russell has agreed to write the 2026 special, kind of suggests that he's perhaps ready to move on himself and is just returning to wrap up loose ends. When his return was announced in 2021, there was specific mention of him staying for several series, but nothing like that was present in this latest statement. It seems that the writing may be on the wall. It's in both his and the show's interests to part ways too. Doctor Who is about change and renewal, after all, and with the Disney era clearly not working out as intended, it feels like the right time for a change of hands. Number 5. Answers about Billie Piper. Previously on Doctor Who, the Doctor seemingly acquired the face of his former companion, Rose Tyler. It's the worst-kept secret in the world that this was a last-minute addition due to Ncuti Gatwa's premature exit. With no time to cast a new Doctor, the team pulled in a favour from a familiar face, thus ensuring that the Reality Wars ending gave fans something to cling to. As George Lucas might say, there's a certain poetry to making Billie Piper the Doctor, given that this year marks 20 years of New Who, and the show's current home, Bad Wolf, is technically named after her. It also split opinion, as you would expect, and the show didn't help itself by refusing to confirm whether Piper even is the Doctor, which has just made things even more confusing. As a result, and despite what others might say, this isn't something that can just be ignored. It needs addressing. You've done it now. The decision is made, so do something cool with it. There's no better place for a gimmicky transitional Doctor than a big flashy Christmas special, and to just ignore it would confuse people even more, especially those casuals who aren't attuned to all the behind-the-scenes drama around the show lately. They could even preserve the sense of mystery right up until broadcast. Is she really the Doctor? Tune in to find out. And even if she isn't, there's bound to be a Doctor or two cropping up elsewhere in the special. Number 4. A David Tennant Billie Piper reunion. Deep down, we all know this is happening, don't we? Given how incredibly popular the 10th Doctor and Rose were back in the day, you can bet your bow tie that Russell T Davies won't be able to resist picking up the phone to get Tennant back with his old companion. Okay, Tennant only returned to the show 5 minutes ago, but 2026 will mark 20 years since he originally appeared alongside Billie Piper in Series 2. And the BBC has form for reuniting 2000s icons on Christmas Day. I mean, just look at the Gavin and Stacey finale last year, and the massive audience it attracted, and the return of Wallace and Gromit. That's not to say we need to bring back 10 and Rose. This could be a multi-Doctor story where 14, who is still knocking around on Earth, let's not forget, helps the Piper Doctor solve the mystery of her recent regeneration. And if Russell T Davies wanted to really wrap things up in a neat bow, he could even have the pair merge together in a sort of reverse bi-generation to give 14 a proper ending and put bi-generation to bed for good. Yes, the show has been far too dependent on nostalgia in recent years, but we are where we are. As a one-off special, a Tennant and Piper reunion would be pure box office, and ultimately this feels like too good an opportunity to miss. Number 3, a Ncuti Gatwa cameo. In terms of other Doctors who could appear in the special, there's another obvious choice. Ncuti Gatwa. Sure, he's only just left the show, but his exit was notoriously rushed, and this would be a way of putting that right. And before you say that it would be highly unusual for a departed Doctor to reappear in the very next story, Matt Smith did it in Deep Breath, and similarly there was barely any time at all between Jodie Whittaker's departure and her recent return in the Reality War. Like these examples and stuff like Amy cropping up in The Time of the Doctor or Clara in Twice Upon a Time, it could just be a cameo. These big special episodes are often flooded with cameos anyway, so it wouldn't feel too amiss. But we wouldn't complain if Gatwa had lead billing alongside Piper and Tennant either. Though Gatwa did get a pretty good regeneration scene, it still doesn't feel like he's properly said goodbye, if you know what we mean. His exit wasn't planned, and it all felt a bit rushed. And if this special truly is the end for RTD2, it would be fitting for the face of that era to appear in some form. The only question is whether Gatwa would want to open that whole can of worms again so quickly. It seems unlikely, but this is our wish list, so we can dream. Number 2, Justice for Susan. The most egregious unresolved plot thread from the Disney era was by far the fate of Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter who finally reappeared in Season 2, once again played by Carol Ann Ford. Multi-Doctor stories aside, the Doctor hasn't seen Susan since they parted ways in the Dalek invasion of Earth over 60 years ago, so a reunion between the pair is long overdue. Frustratingly, all we actually got is a couple of cameos. First, a vision to 15 when he was stranded in space in the Interstellar Song Contest, then a flash on a television screen in Wish World. And even more frustratingly, the scenes she filmed for the Reality War, which would have also involved Captain Poppy, were cut when the episode became Ncuti's swan song. Quite frankly, the fact that we're still waiting for a Dr. Susan reunion is a crime. Clearly her return was meant to play out across multiple seasons, but given Carol's age, you can't help but wonder why they didn't just get on with it. Of course, if she comes back in the 2026 Christmas special, then all will be forgiven. The original plan would probably have to be abandoned, but that would be a small price to pay. And to be honest, does anyone care about the Captain Poppy plotline? Anyone? No, I didn't think so. Ultimately, if they miss this chance to bring Susan back properly, they might not get another one. Number 1, a lead-in to the next era. Whatever happens in the 2026 special, the most important thing is that it paves the way for Doctor Who's next chapter. And whatever comes next, whether it's produced by the current team or a different one entirely, it needs to be a fresh start. That means wrapping everything up and wiping the slate clean, with nothing, including bi-generated David Tennants, still left on the board. By all means, indulge in nostalgia. Bring back Tennant and Piper. Heck, make it a big Series 2 Doomsday reunion with the TARDIS landing on the Powell estate and bronze Daleks and Cybermen stomping around London. But make it clear that this is it, and that past Doctors and companions won't be returning again for a long, long time. End with the Doctor, be that Piper, Tennant or both, regenerating into a brand new incarnation who's completely separate from what's come before. A proper, fresh start. Excitingly, if production on post-2026 Who has started by that point, which does seem likely, then we could even get a first look trailer for the next era at the end of that special. If done right, it could recapture the excitement of 2010, with a new Doctor and a new season just months away. There'd be no better Christmas present, quite honestly. Just please don't end this thing with Billie Piper regenerating into Jenna Coleman or something. I think we can all agree it's time to move forward. And that concludes our list. Now, is it wishful thinking to hope that all of the things will be ticked off of our Christmas special list? Maybe. But if we all work really, really hard over the next year to be good boys and girls and get put on the nice list, maybe Father Christmas will grant us this one Christmas miracle. All I want for Christmas is Who. In the meantime, I've been Ellie for WhoCulture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.